Welcome to the IonaHoops.com podcast with your host, Guy Flatico.
Yes, I know. August just screams the start of college hoop season, doesn't it? Well, it does here for the IonaHoops.com podcast. During the last episode, I talked about a crazy string of great guests and episodes to be coming your way, and we wanted to get things started off in style for season 4 here on the pod. This past Friday, Iona hosted a mini media day of sorts, attended by me and Jaden Daly of Daily Dose of Hoops, as well as the GOAT himself, Tim Cluess, making his first appearance at Hines since he stepped away. Special day at Iona indeed. Anyway, I've got a bunch of thoughts to share about what I saw, but after the practice, Jaden and I sat down with Tobin Anderson as well as 4 of the players, and I have that presser for you in its entirety. So settle in. We're not just playing around here in the pod to start off season 4. And as you're about to see, we're not playing around with these Iona Iotas either.
Iona Iotas.
If yesterday's excitement was not enough, we have had other forms of huge Iona news the past few days, and just yesterday as well, as the Gales received a commitment to wrap up the 2023 class, as well as another commitment earlier in the week for the 2024 class. Yesterday, Iona welcomed Isaac Bryce to the family. Bryce is an uber-athletic 6'6" forward out of Southwest Mississippi Community College, where he averaged 7.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks per game, which was 21st in the country for JUCO players. Check out his highlights that have been shared on the message board and on Twitter. Bryce shot 53% from the floor, 75% from the line, and will come to us as a sophomore, so he's got 3 years of eligibility remaining in total. A really nice ad to fill that final roster spot for this season. But Guy, I'm worried about 2024. We're losing Oz and all that size and athleticism. Enter 6'9" rim runner Jacob Hogarth, who committed to the Gales a few days back. Hogarth, originally from White Plains, starting his career at Stepinac, he's now at South Kent Prep. He's got some big-time offers over the years from the likes of Maryland, Creighton, and St. John's, and more recent offers from Buffalo and a host of other good mids in the Northeast. Rated 3 stars on Rivals, is an athletic 4 who can guard 1 to 5. Strong, good skill set offensively, great footwork, even some handle if you watch his highlights. Anyway, these are both great gets for Tobin and his staff. Welcome to Iona, Isaac and Jason.
Iona Iotas.
When is the non-conference schedule going to come out? Well, how about yesterday? The full slate is finally here, and as such, those little missing items that we've been talking about in past episodes have finally been filled in. That missing home bye game I've been telling you about, St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Remember, sadly, there is no St. Francis of Brooklyn, so we can just call them St. Francis. We are hosting the Red Flash on December 10th. Right before that, on December 8th, that's the mystery day we've been waiting for our home game against Hofstra. And lastly, that game against Harvard, at Harvard, that's going to be December 30th. Nice way to wrap up the year. So now's the time to get those season ticket deposits in at IonaTickets.com. Season ticks should be available soon once the MAC slate gets finalized, which of course is the next part of the schedule we'll be waiting for in the coming days and perhaps weeks.
Iona Iotas.
I know I keep mentioning that Iona does indeed have an active NIL collective that has helped shape our current roster. This is an absolute fact. You're going to need to believe me and take my word for it on this one. But when do we all get to play in the NIL pool? Soon, I swear. My understanding is that we're finalizing some corporate sponsorships as part of the collective, and then public launch won't be far behind. And this podcast is going to be part of that. I promise you that as well. So, keep your ears open. We've got you covered when we're ready to roll out the NIL collective to the public. We're going to bypass the usual recruiting features. Well, we've just gotten 2 commitments anyway. And we're going to get back to a whole lot of stuff from Friday's practice, starting with my own takeaways. I know I'm going to make you all jealous, but man, it was great to be in New Rochelle yesterday to watch the Tobin Anderson-led Iona Gales take the floor. What a difference from the previous regime, even getting the invite to attend this practice along with Jaden Daly. As I mentioned, the day got off to a great start as I got to spend a few minutes catching up with the GOAT, Tim Cluess. His health has greatly improved, and he was so happy to be back at Heinz for the first time in 4 years or whatever it's been. I told him I'm leading the way in that charge to get that court renamed Tim Cluess Court. Let's see if that materializes. But anyway, his passion for the game has not waned at all. It was great to chat with him. Hopefully we'll all get to say hello to him at some home games this upcoming season. But now to the practice itself. Here's the thing. Iona basketball fans have been forming their own takes on the team and individual players as the commits have rolled in during this offseason. And I have to say, a lot of our assessments and our expectations for what we thought certain players were seem to be pretty accurate from what I saw in terms of what this team brings to the table. Tons of reasons for optimism. Though I warn all of you, this team is going to need time to gel, time to learn the system. There's going to be unexpected bumps along the way. It's going to ruffle the feathers of some of you impatient fans who think we should never lose a game or something. But I feel very comfortable about the direction of this team for this season. I can't wait to see what we look like in March. I guarantee you we're going to be a different team in March than what you guys might see on the floor in November. This team is versatile on both ends of the floor. Lots of guys who can handle, lots of guys who can shoot, lots of guys who can go to the basket, lots of guys who can guard multiple positions and get in passing lanes. Also saw lots of the older guys acting as true leaders for the team. But yes, I definitely saw issues that the teams just assembled and learning a new system are going to experience. That stuff's going to get better, no doubt. But from an individual perspective, it's hard not to like the talent on the floor. There was a healthy amount of scrimmage time, half court, full court, and teams, quote unquote, for the day were broken up in maroon and white, as you'd imagine. The maroon team was Quigley, Panzo, Bates, Williams, and Oz. The white team was Treatu, Brown, Gordon, Saunders, Sultan, and Aaron Gordon. Yes, you math geniuses. I only listed 11 over 12 guys. Cam Krystosiak has a minor ankle injury, so he sat out practice. Anyway, I will now go player by player down the roster, obviously skipping Cam, though I do want to note that I saw him working closely with Saunders quite a bit during the practice. Saunders it looks like a Cam clone. They look like they can be brothers in their style and their ability. Probably is pretty similar as well. So that's going to make some sense for sure, that mentorship. But great to see just leadership even from a guy not practicing, working with a younger guy. But let's get to it, going down to the other 11 guys. And I'm going to do it in the order I just listed them out for you when I told you the two practice teams. We'll start with Quigley. He's got really great court vision and the ability to get into the paint. Like many Frost, could use some bulking up. Doesn't look for his shot just enough yet. And he'll learn not to telegraph some passes as he matures as well. Obviously, as a freshman, he's going to have a role, but he's got a ways to go. And it's great that we have a veteran like Brown working with him. Panzo, as advertised with regard to his ability to shoot threes, handles well. Would like to see him go to the basket a bit more and rebound more given his size. But I'm confident he's going to have a great role on this offensive end. He's got quicker hands on D than I was expecting. Bates, truly talented player. Again, a Frosh is going to have his learning curve to go with. Can use a bit more seasoning and strength, but he showed an ability to score in a variety of ways. Really nice, talented player. Williams, probably one of the more versatile guys on the roster. He got better as the day went on. One of the better guys in the team going to the basket. Another one, active hands on defense. Just a nice overall player, versatile on both ends of the floor in terms of what he can give. Just a nice player is going to have a great role in this team. Oz, the king. Offensively, Tobin is going to use him similarly to how the coach who shall not be named used him. Though I would expect him to catch the ball closer to the basket more often. Not as a post-up, but just closer to the basket. And of course, for a 5-out system, he's such a perfect 5 forward. I mean, you can't draw it up any better than that. Don't know if he's going to be on top of that press as much as we saw last year, but with the size in the backcourt we have, I think that's fine. I don't think it's a must. Treatu. He's going to be one of the alphas on this team, no question. Might be our most aggressive offensive player in terms of looking for his shot. He can score in a lot of ways. He can make threes. He can go pull up. He can go to the basket. He's also a little better defensively than I was expecting. He's got quickness in his hands and his feet. So just a really nice, complete player. Brown, as we all expected, the quintessential point guard. I'd actually like to see him go to the basket more than he showed because he does have a great first step. Also, he's just tenacious on defense. He's not going to be one of those guys that's going to pile up points this year, but it's going to be hard not to keep him on the floor. I mean, he is that point guard, that quintessential point guard that you want. And with all the other weapons on this team, I think that he understands his role and he's going to flourish. Gordon, just beast potential. I'd be surprised if he doesn't lead the team in rebounding for sure. He's good at getting to the paint and scoring over folks. Curious to see how he'll do if he's being guarded by the other team's center, given that Oz is more of a step out 5, so he might not be guarded by the other team's center as much. So it'll be interesting to see how other teams defend Gordon as we go forward. But he looks like he also can shoot the 3 a little bit as well. That's going to be important to see because that might change how we're guarded in general on defense. I honestly think either he or Tritu will lead the team in scoring this year. Saunders, like I said, he's got a Cam clone to him, just that, stretch 4 look. He showed the ability to make an outside shot, but he's going to have to get stronger, a little quicker, being able to play to his size. Of course, he just turned 18 years old. He's the youngest guy on the team, so I don't know how ready he's going to be to contribute right away, but, there could be a role for him more for sure, especially as a backup 5 as we get closer to MAC play. Sultan, another Frosh who just needs to get a little stronger, a little more college ready in terms of his body. But he does a lot of nice things out there. Probably our second best paint scorer after Gordon. Made a couple of nice moves yesterday, has a nice touch around the basket. Moves really well without the ball. That's not something that all Frosh do. A lot of Frosh watch the paint dry a bit. But he's on the move. For somebody who doesn't look fluid out there, he's in position a lot. So that's one thing I noticed. Aaron Gurin. There's a guy who I thought that was even better than I was expecting. It's him. Made several outside shots. Also got into the paint for points. Just a pain in the butt on defense. He and Brown are probably our best on-ball defensive. This kid is savvy, plays beyond his age. He's been my pick all this offseason in terms of the freshman that I thought would break out and have a real impact. I saw nothing yesterday to change that. I'm just a huge fan of his already. So that's everyone. I'm going to be curious to see how Cam will fit into this once healthy. And now also how Isaac Bryce fits in. Looking at his highlights, seems like maybe a younger Gordon in terms of his style of play. I mean, you can't have enough 6'6" athletes on the roster. So I expect Bryce to have a role right away as well. But we'll see. We'll have to wait to see in October how all of the pieces come together. If you've got any specific questions about anything or anyone I talked about above, hit me up on a message board or Twitter. I'll be glad to answer anything I can, so fire away. And speaking of answering questions, it's time to share the press conference from after Friday's practice. Jaden Daly and I asked the questions. Answering first were Oz and Gordon, then Brown and Tritu, and then Tobin. Hope you enjoy it.
So this is Guy Filaco. You guys have probably seen him on.
Yeah.
You guys introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Jaden Daly, Daly Does Hoops.
Oz, first one for you as the elder statesman, the one who did come back. What's the difference between this team now with Tobin and what he's implemented versus last year with Pitino?
Well, family and doing a lot of activities together, I'd say. It's different from last year's team.
What as when Rick left and some of your teammates were transferring out, others were graduating, and you saw more and more players leaving, and you were still here. What were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
It was confusing. I had a lot to think about, and I had to decide whether I wanted to stay in college, and then if I wanted to stay in college, if I had to stay here or look at some other options. But yeah.
And what made you decide to stay?
Well, I loved Iona, and what Coach Anderson was telling me was, really convincing, and I decided to stay.
And when
What was his sales pitch to you in terms of what role you would play if you came back?
He pitched freedom, a lot of movement, which I like. I like moving a lot, and that's what his offense is about. And yeah, that's one of the main reasons I decided to stay.
And Greg, when you first started looking at colleges and you visit Iona and you see there's one guy, usually you get to meet a bunch of guys that are coming back the following year, and you come back and there's one guy, and you don't know who else your teammates are really going to be yet. How does that? What were you thinking during the recruiting process? Did you feel like, all right, I have a chance to really help build something here?
I kind of just thought about it being as if like, if Oz is here, I was like, he stayed for a reason. I mean, the coaches, obviously the coaching change didn't bother him. It was the community and the way the school showed love to him. So I just felt as if like, I stay here and help him build that King Oz reputation and just we win together. And that's kind of all I wanted. I just wanted teammates who would win. And Oz is a winner. He knows how to win. So that's what kind of really convinced me to like, this is where I want to be.
Brad, you were one of the first to commit to Iona this offseason. What else attracted you to this program?
The staff really sold me. They're really. You hear a lot of people talk about staff, and they have to tell you the in between lines because they're their coaches. But honestly, the staff really sold me. Tom and Cam and Savage. I mean, they really treated me like family. Not once did I ever come on this visit and they asked me like, "So are you going to commit to us?" They it kind of felt like a vacation. I came to New York, I got to experience it, and and then the scene, just the New Rochelle scene and the fresh air just got me.
And then Oz, so you guys had a great run last year, but you were the favorites. You were overwhelming favorites to get the NCAA tournament. You did it. Let's say that happens again. You're looking up next March. You're in the tournament again. Would it actually be more satisfying because of the way this offseason went?
I would say so, yeah. Because we're really looking forward to starting the season, getting to the MAC tournament, winning the championship, and going to the NCAA and winning games.
For both of you, your early impressions of this team, where do you think the ceiling is, and how much more do you feel you have to grow?
Want to answer first?
Well, the ceiling is really high. We're getting better each day, and every week there's been a lot of improvement since we started the summer workout. So I can't wait for the season to start. It's going to be exciting.
I definitely say the ceiling is very high. I mean, I feel like the best teams I've been on is when everyone accepts their role and everyone does the best at their role. Like everyone can't be the man and everyone won't be the man. But on this team, everyone just accepts their role. They let Tobin place them in the position and on the place on the court where they could do best, and they go crazy and do their best. And I feel like we're gonna do a lot.
Good. Great work, guys.
Okay, for either one of you, Joel or Idan, your first impressions of this team and how they've come together over the last couple months since you got here.
Honestly, it's been exciting. It's been quite different, obviously, just because there's various age groups through freshmen, juniors, and then there's transfers. But it's been exciting. I think we've gained a lot of knowledge over the time that we've been, but also just coming together as a team on and off the court. I think we've done a lot of great activities that have helped us bond and get to know each other, which is helping us on the court. And so I think everyone is continuing to buy in, and each day we're just taking one step at a time into just progressing and getting to where we need to get to.
So both of you guys come into a situation where there's a whole new roster here. What was that? What's it been like? Has it been harder than other situations like this where you've encountered, where you started off the season and it's like nobody knows anybody in the room?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I think it's actually, people can look at it as a negative or something that's hard to try to figure out. But I think we've looked at it and we've used it as a positive. You know what I mean? You're coming into a team with no real set culture. Of course, Iona as a program has a culture of winning, but us as a team with the new coaching staff, it's kind of up to us to like make the culture that we want as a team. You know what I mean? There's no traditions that have been passed down. Sort of, we're figuring it out as we go, and I think that we are building a really great culture within the team and with the coaching staff, and figuring out what our identity is. And I think it's been great. We're a real competitive team. I definitely can say that's one of our identities. We're going to play hard and fast, and I think it's been really fun so far.
You know, what attracted you here, and did you play against Iona when you were at Harvard? What sold you on this program?
Yep, I played Iona my junior year, right before I got injured. And I came back home, of course, to New York. I'm from Brooklyn. And the stands and the crowd at Iona was definitely one of my more memorable games in college. Packed gym kind of reminded me of a high school-esque environment. The crowd was rowdy. And it was a tough place to play, you know, being the outsider team. And I think when I was coming here on my visit and meeting the coaching staff, Tobin with his pedigree and what he was able to do in the tournament last year really was attractive. Getting guys like Joel, once I committed, just made things more exciting. So yeah, for sure it was all of that stuff.
Joel, you're coming off a team from last year at Cal where just things were not anywhere what you would wanted your program to be like, and now you come to a situation like this. How refreshing has it been for you, and how much has it invigorated you as a player?
Right now, it's yeah, I think you used the right word of refreshment. It's been very refreshing. Everyone that I've spoken to who's asked me like, "How are you loving Iona?" I was like, "Yo, this is something different. This is something that I've been wanting since I've been in college." Just in terms of how the coaches are super duper invested in the players. In practice, but outside of practice. I think just like what he said is just the culture. Guys even getting in the gym afterwards or before practice. It's just like little things that I'm getting used to now that I wasn't been in the past. And I'm just looking to use this year as my last year, just kind of using all the experiences that I've been through and adversity and whatnot, and just kind of using that in tough moments that we may come through this year. But I'm definitely, excited because it is like a new chapter. This is kind of the ending chapter of my college career, so I want to make it the best one. And so just kind of being back on the East Coast, New York, closer to home for family and friends to come, and just seeing a lot more familiar faces has just been, refreshing, and I'm excited.
Joel, coming from a high major program at Cal, what can you take from what you learned there and apply it here as a senior leader on this team?
Yeah, just definitely the word just compete. No matter the level, like the team that competes the most, or who endures and goes through adversity together, is the team that's going to last the longest. And so for me personally, like obviously I've come from a situation where it was a losing record and whatnot, and I'm kind of used to the adversity now. So obviously we have 5-6 freshmen on the team. They haven't experienced a college game yet. And college and high school are two different, ball games. And so obviously we're going to be in a situation where, a team may go on a run or we may be down. How do we come back and get ourselves going from in our own selves instead of, looking for outside resources and whatnot. So kind of just being in those situations and understanding how hard it is to win. I think, I'll be able to kind of just be a leader and just, kind of show guys with just my actions in terms of every day communicating and just doing the little things that impact winning.
Don, Tobin's been bringing in all these great names from Iona's past over the years, topped off with Tim Close today. What's that been like for you in terms of when you now look down and see the word Iona on your chest? How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I spoke to it a little bit prior. I think given Iona's rich history of winning, they've had so many people to come through here that have done it and do it successfully. We've had a lot of great players come through practice, a lot of great coaches, of course. And I think it's just, it really shows how they speak. Every person that's come in and spoke about Iona, they use the word magic, something magical in the gym. And I think it's honestly, I'm excited to be a part of it and excited to see what this magic is about, to be honest, because they all speak about it. And, obviously the culture is rich, and I'm just excited. Yeah.
Joel, I'll ask you the same question I asked you, Don. What attracted you to this program? Obviously, Tobin with his track record of winning.
Right.
What else sold you on coming to Iona?
Yeah, I think it was the relationship that I had built with the assistant coaches, specifically Patrick Wallace. He's an alum of Brewster Academy, and kind of just doing my research and talking to, inside people, my high school coach and whatnot. They spoke highly of him, and so just me and him, connected. And it was kind of funny, like while he was actually at Loyola, still there, like he was trying to recruit me there, and then when he got to Iona, he was still in contact with me. And then as I got here, something just inside my spirit just felt like this was just the place for me. Just speaking with Tobin, he throughout the whole process, he understood where I came from, and he sees a lot in me, and he's been pushing me. And so that was the one thing that he said that he would continue to do, is push me to another level that people haven't probably seen in the past 4 years, just because of the situation that I was in. And so that attracted me, but then also just the opportunity to win. Like, Iona is known for winning, and I want to be a part of a culture stand that expectation and be in an environment like that, just like how Edon said, great fan base and crowd, and yeah, just compete. So for me, that's what just really attracted me to come to Iona.
Awesome. Good job, guys. Well, Tobin, I'm not going to ask you about FDU that's already got beaten into the ground for the last couple months, but is this a bigger challenge that you're facing now than what you had 14 months ago?
Well, it's an interesting question, right? Because FDU was totally different. They were coming off of four-win season. Had to kind of rebuild the whole thing. Where, the tradition at Iona, they've won for a long time here. So you're going into a winning program, a winning culture. Obviously, a brand new team that makes it hard. So I think comparable, right? And the advantage I had last year is I had 3 guys from St. Thomas Aquinas who played for me for, the 2 guards had played for 120 games, college games. Sean Moore played for 80. We're here, there's not one guy who's ever played for me, practiced for us before, been in our program, knows how we do things. So we've had to kind of start from the beginning there. But also with that, there's no one with bad habits, I shouldn't say that. There's no one who's, all these guys that are here now, we wanted, right? There's not one guy you walk in that gym and say, well, we recruit every guy here. Like Oz came back, we formed a great relationship with him, he came back. So we basically re-recruited him. The rest of these guys are all our guys. So there's not one guy in that gym who's not our recruit, our guy. So that's great. So there's advantages, disadvantages, but both ways, obviously. I'll probably tell you more when we get into the season. Like if it goes well, it was not as hard. If it doesn't go well, it was harder. But I mean, it's not the ideal way to do it, but it is what it is, right? So I think we can do it and be successful. I think we can put this team together and be. I do. So I'm not like saying, hey, this is an impossible situation. It's a hard situation, but everybody has a hard. There's all kinds of hard situations. So I'm not. When I was at St. Thomas Aquinas, we had a batting cage above the gym, for God's sakes. Everybody has bad situations. So I don't see it. It's a challenge, but every year is a challenge. It'll be nice, but I will be nice to have a little continuity, hopefully by next summer, where there's a couple of guys that have been here for a while that know what you're talking about. That part is. There are some days I leave here, I'm like, oh, geez, we got so far to go. But today was actually a good day. I felt better about today.
So you've had a couple months or so of practices and workouts now. Has this been about getting the guys comfortable with each other, getting the kids comfortable with the system, or a mix of both?
Yeah, the first thing you want to do is you want to get the guys to understand how hard we have to play, how much we have to compete, how hard we have to work. So that's been before you talk about X and O's and all that kind of stuff, it's like from a basketball standpoint, that's the most important thing. How hard we have to play, how together we have to be, how tough we have to be. And then there's, the off-the-court stuff's huge. Like, it's a good chance to know each other. We've done a lot. We've had dinners at my house. We've been to 9/11 Museum. We've been on a cruise, dinner cruise. We've had trivia night. We've had trivia question stuff. We have a Sunday nights, our team dinners to get together. We read a book together. We do a book club kind of thing. We read a book each guy, and it's been unbelievable. That's why we have smart guys. We have reading the book Legacy. It's about the Australian rugby team over there. It's won a bunch of champions. It's a great book. And so 2 guys take a chapter each every Sunday. 2 guys to a chapter, so chapter 1, 2, 3, and they present for the whole team. And we've had unbelievable presentations. They bought into that whole thing. So, but we're getting to know each other. We laugh. We joke. So there's a little bit of everything. The summer's nice because it's not as hectic as far as there's not a bunch of people around, there's not students around, just this, them. And then like what's happening behind when we're not around, like they're hanging out together, going to dinner, they're going to the city. I hear they're on these scooters around campus, which scares the heck out of me. They're riding these scooters. I'm like, Greg Gordon, I guess, is the guy who rides them like way too fast So I'm like, listen, don't get hurt on these scooters. But part of the team bonding thing. So I think all of it's important, right? You can't just have the basketball, not have the off the court stuff. But we're also not a situation where it's not a sorority. We can't just have fun things and not worry about the basketball. You have to do both the basketball and the off the court stuff. So we've done a little bit of everything here. And they have to get to know us too. I meet with the guys I just met with 2 guys. We talk all the time. The offices are open all the time. They're here all the time. So they have to get to know how we are as coaches too. And I think that's been a big positive.
How important was it to stagger the experience on your roster? You got grad transfers in Joel and Don.
Yep.
You have some upperclassmen and you have a couple of freshmen too. How important was it just to get a little bit of everything?
Well, I think for the program, it's huge, right? The team, you could have had a team and said, let's just take all grad transfers or all seniors and done it that way, but that's not for the future of the program. That's not the way to do it, So we had to and it was hard. I've discussed it a few times. It's been hard because when you have nobody, how do you get started, right? So we didn't start out saying, hey, let's get 5 freshmen, 5 older guys. It was like, let's just get some guys. And then as time went on, we were able to kind of like, all right, now we got 4 older guys coming. Now let's take a freshman. Early on, we had 3 freshmen. We had 3 commits who were freshmen, right? JQ, Gene, and Saunders, and Bates committed there too. So we had all these freshmen. Now we need some older guys. When we get the older guys, then we went back and got another freshman. We got Sultan, we got enough older guys now. Let's go get a freshman. So it kind of depended upon how things were going. But I think the balance is great. I think there's a good balance of older guys who are in their last year. A couple guys who could have 2 years. Terrell and Cam could have 2 years. Greg has 2 years, and then I think the 5 freshmen are all going to help us. So yeah, I feel we got guys committed for next year too. So I think the program is in a good place right now, from the continuity of the roster, the team, So I feel good about that.
Did you when you went through something similar when you started to rebuild FDU?
Yeah.
Is there anything you took from that going into this year saying, okay, we're not going to do that again, or wow, that really worked out well for us, we're going to do that for sure?
Oh yeah, tons of things, right? And Stack too. I've had, this is my 5th head college coaching job. 3 of them have been just hard. I was at Clarkson. My first job, Division III, was they hadn't been 525 years. Stack was coming off a 5-win season. They had won 5, and then 6 year before, and 5 the year before that, and then FDU. So I've had 3, people would say bad jobs, hard jobs, right? So all those places teach you a few things, Specifically, like what I learned. I think you just you get, especially the success we had last year, you get more in your beliefs. Like, hey, this is the way. Like getting high character guys works. Getting good kids works. Not compromising on. We had one guy at FDU last year. We had to kick off before the season started. He was talented, but that just didn't work, right? So we kind of said, hey, let's even more so. This is what works. Let's trust in what works. Let's believe in what we do. It's a process. We're nothing like. We'll be a lot better. People always say, well, hey, you guys played well at the right time in March at FDU. I'm like, no, we got better. If we'd have kept on going until April or May, we've been a hell of a lot better team in May than we were in March. We were getting better, And this team will be the same way. We'll get better as the year goes along. We're not anywhere close to where we have to be to be a championship team now. We don't have to be right now. We have to get to that point at some point. Hopefully the sooner the better, but it's going to take some time. But we do believe in what we do. It's great to have the staff. I got 3 guys from FDU who came with me. Tom Bonnick has been with me now since his 5th year. So he can finish my sentences, which is not an easy thing to do, right? And then Cam Rowe played for me for 2 years, coached. This is his 3rd, so this is our 5th year together too. So he's the same way. And then Ray was with us last year. Then Pat Wallace and Kyle Washington are guys I know really well. So the staff is we're really together, really on the same page. Help each other out, balance each other. So that part is great, And the advantage here, we just have more help. We have more. At FDU, we didn't have a big staff here, so we can do more things. Guys get more attention. Every guy needs a little bit of attention, so every guy gets, and they probably still need more attention, but they get a lot of attention.
What about this program, and who in this program so far has stood out to you and impressed you most?
On the team right now? every day is somebody different. I mean, the character has been terrific. Like I said, the book club and the way the guys have taken ownership already, and the leadership that's been there. Like Edon's been great. Edon was great. He was the first older guy to sign. He was the guy making recruiting calls and calling guys and texting guys, and he got guys to come because as much as they want to hear from a coach, hearing from players has a stronger pull in that direction. He's been great. Greg Gordon has been terrific as far as just how he plays and his energy he brings every day. Like he is a full speed ahead. Like there's not. I mean, I'm not sure he's ever had a bad energy day in his life. He brings it every day. I mean, Oz has been terrific. Oz is smart. I showed a clip last week in a practice of him. There was a turnover, and he sprinted like it was the NBA Finals. It was a baseline of it, not to get a score, to get a stop. He sprinted from baseline to baseline. We showed it to the team. Said like, here's Oz on July 28th, sprinting as hard as he can. Like that's the kind of stuff right there. You do that in July, it becomes easy in March. So Oz, he's bought into what we're doing. He's just a smart, great kid. He's been good, and then everybody else is playing. Wes has been good. They've all been good at times, but I think Edon, Greg, Oz, kind of the heart and soul, maybe leaders right now of this team. They're a little more verbal than everybody else is. I don't know, Oz is not more verbal, but Oz is more my example. But Edon and Greg are the verbal guys for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
But they've been good. And the freshmen have been great. I mean, there are a couple of guys like Alex Bates was here June 10th, has not got home for one day. Like some guys went home in the middle around July 4th. He's been here for June 10th every day, and like he was in watching film yesterday. He's been in talking to us all the time. Like he is like it's like his first day. I mean, he just is totally immersed himself in our program and wants to get better, and that's been impressive.
So as these workouts have been going on and you're taking it all in, has there been any surprises to you? Is there some aspect of what you've seen and you're like, wow, I really didn't think we had this when we were recruiting it all, but wow, we're actually good at this, or we're going to be better at this part of the game than I thought. That kind of thing.
That's a good question. We shoot the ball better than I thought. I mean, I knew there's certain guys like Wesley would shoot the ball well. I knew Edon would shoot the ball well, but overall we shoot the ball really well. We're very unselfish. We've been very unselfish. Now, we're not keeping score right now. Right. So it's like, there's those individual stats. So sometimes you're unselfish. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, I'm trying to score 20. I don't think these guys are like that, but sometimes, can we be that unselfish when we start playing games? But really unselfish. For a bunch of older, old guys, old and young, but the older guys have been very unselfish, very committed to the team. That part's been good. We're not necessarily big as far as like big, bulky guys, but man, we're positionally, we're big. Like we have size on the wings, we have size overall. Like Terrell Williams and Greg Gordon and Weza they play bigger than they are. And they're all like 6'5", 6'6", but they're men. They play bigger than they are. So that helps. And like Cam Kristoviak is hurt, but when he gets back, he'll help us a lot too. He's smart, he knows how to play. So that part's big. The overall is like we're big across the board, and then just we shoot the ball and we're unselfish, which is great.
You had Tim Cluse in practice today, and your career arcs have been kind of similar. Tim went from community college to D2 to D1. Yeah. You've gone D3, D2, D1. Do you see a little bit of him in yourself?
Whenever I was trying to get a job, right, when I was at Division II, I'd always say, well, listen, look what, I would tell these Division I ADs all the time, like, look what Tim Cluse did, right? I mean, here's a guy who went from Division II, went to Division I, and won like crazy. And then they still didn't hire Division II guys, right? I'm like, why wouldn't you? Here's a guy who there's a great proof of a guy who came from a smaller college and did it. So I've loved how his team's played. I loved him as a coach. He's always been an open book. Like you call him up, ask about something, he always talk to you about it. He's always an innovative guy, and he won. He won big. So I mean, if I could follow in his footsteps and the success what he's had, obviously at LIU Post, and then if he can come here and do what he did, that'd be great. So no, he's definitely a guy that I look up to a lot.
Seems to be a lot of versatility on both ends of the floor. You have a lot of guys who can handle, a lot of guys that can shoot, like you said.
Yep.
On defense, a lot of guys that can guard multiple positions. Yep. It seems like.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you, but it's probably an obvious yes by design, I'm sure.
Yep, absolutely. We like guys who the more things you can do, the more versatile you can be, the better off we're going to be. We like guys who can play multiple positions, who can do multiple things, we don't have positions, right? We have numbers for our press, but as far as offensively, I don't care. I mean, is Oz a 5-man? Oz not a 5-man. Oz is a basketball player. Like he can pass it, shoot it, dribble it, so he's a basketball player. Like what's Terrell Williams? You know, he's not a number. He's a number. So like, if we can put 5 guys out there who can pass it, shoot it, handle the ball, make plays, dangerous team to guard. And I think we can do that. I think a lot of positions. So definitely by design. You know, and especially how we play. Like, if we're not big enough, we'll double the post. You know, we played small last year at FDU if we had to. If we have to play small, we'll play small. If we have to play big, we'll play big. You know, we're going to play the best guys who can help us win. And yeah, we like guys who can do a lot of things. Interchangeable parts is a great thing. We got, like, the kid Quigley is a true point guard, right? Joel Brown's a true point guard. Everybody else is kind of like, you know, they can all make plays, they can all shoot the ball, they can all play off the ball. So we'll play them all together. Yeah, and we're gonna play a lot of guys. I mean, I think we got a lot of guys who can play for us, and that's a great thing about how we play in our style is we're gonna play guys who are freshmen who maybe wouldn't have a chance sometimes in other programs. We're gonna play for us, you know.
Not shying away from anybody in the non-conference game against Charleston right away to open the season. Some other quality mid-majors as well. How important was it to challenge this group early and often?
Absolutely. Like I'm a big believer in playing the best teams you can play in the non-conference to get you ready for the. I mean, the realities are the conference is a whole thing. The conference and the conference tournament is what gets you to the NCAA tournament, right? So it's like, yeah, we'd love to get in a large field. That'd be great. That'll play itself out no matter what. No matter if you're good enough, you'll win those games. If you're not good enough, you can't win the MAC tournament, no matter what it is. But like, you got to get better. And like playing like Charleston, playing Colorado, playing Colgate, playing Harvard. Like we're playing good programs. You know, we're playing the best, I think, mid-major programs out there. And then, you know, that's gonna make us better. Absolutely. St. Joe's will be a top 3 or 4 team in the A10 this year. That'll be a good team. So that's a good game too. So I think we're always gonna play good teams. You know, I'm not trying to protect a record. I just got here. I'll be here hopefully for a while. So I'm not trying to, you know, if you lose some game, I think part of having a good team, and this happened at FDU last year, is you're going to get beat. Like, you know, you don't want to, but you're going to lose a couple games along the way. And sometimes you're going to lose games that you shouldn't lose, but it helps you come February, March. And if you look at the track record of our teams at Stack and at FDU last year, we played better in March. We got better. You got to get beat a little bit, you know. And it must say, now you got to go get your tail kicked, you know. And we lost last year at FDU to Hartford, who was awful. No offense to them. And we were awful that night too. They were better than us. They were better coached, better players that night. But like, that loss helped us. It made us better. So you got to get beat sometimes. So.
And that's actually very similar to the Colusa era. There was some rough starts to the season, but at the end, you knew who was going to be there. Yep. So here's your chance to sell some Iona season tickets. Why should fans come out and see this team play?
Well, I think we're gonna be an extremely fun team to watch. We're gonna score some points. We're gonna play fast. You saw us in practice today. We're gonna play fast. We're gonna play a lot of guys. We're going to push the tempo at all times. We're gonna go up and down, and I think we're gonna shoot the ball well. We're gonna dunk the ball in transition. We're gonna turn people over, you know, and make the game fast. And I think people are going to love how we play, how hard we play, how tough we are, how competitive we are. And it's going to be a fun bunch of guys. You know, we're going to score some points. You know, and I think that's all our teams. We averaged 80 points a game last year at FDU with a team that was kind of maybe a little bit offensively challenged at times. This team has more offensive weapons, so I think it'll be a fun team to watch.
You've embraced the tradition and the history of this program from your introductory press conference, and now you've brought some of the past legends into the program to acquaint your players with them. How important is it to immerse this current group in the tradition and the prestige that this program has built?
Huge. You know, I mean, Iona's one of the best, I don't know, you can say mid-major, high major, one of the winningest programs on the East Coast the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years. They won forever, right? And so the players that have been here, the Kevin Hamiltons, the Scott Machados, the Jeff Rulins, all these guys, you hate to leave guys out, AJ English, the guys that come by here all the time. Steve Burt Jr., I've talked to him. Like, they came here, worked their tails off, and had a lot of success and did big things. And so our guys didn't know about that. Our guys didn't know that there is a tremendous tradition here. Like, I know it. I'm a basketball junkie, right? So sometimes they don't know all the success. But we've been in the NCAA tournament, I think it was 7 the last 8 years. There's only 10 or 11 other programs in the country. There's like Duke, Michigan, big Villanova that are in that same category. So that's not that's Iowa basketball. So there's a little bit of, you know, responsibility for me as a coach and the team as players. That way, this is what's been done before us. Let's try to keep that going. You know, and I want those guys to come back and And every guy that's come back to talk to the team, we had a lot of guys come back. Almost every day there's a new guy in here who's come back to talk to the team. And they've constantly talked about how hard they worked, how much they cared about the team, they cared about the program, how much people around us care so much, and what a special place Iona is. So I think the more you hear that, the more you kind of embrace that. I want our guys to embrace that. And, we want to add the next chapter to that, and hopefully add more chapters. I mean, we've talked about hey, we want to be the first Iona team to go get a NCAA win. And that's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard just to get there. But they know there's some things out there that they can do to make themselves special too. So they're excited about that.
Thanks to everyone at Iona for welcoming me to Friday's practice. So happy I had a chance to see the team, talk to Tobin, talk to Cluis, talk to the guys on the team, and here bringing everybody a taste of things to come in New Rochelle. And this is only the beginning of season 4 on this podcast. Thanks for listening, and go Gales.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the IonaHoops.com podcast. This podcast is a production of IonaHoops.com and its publisher Guy Filatico. The opinions shared during this podcast are those of Guy Filatico, IonaHoops.com, and any featured guests. This podcast is not affiliated with Iona University Athletics or the university itself. Thank you for supporting IonaHoops.com.